Hi everyone! So my camera died on the front side of this layout. At the end of this video I might go through that and tell you what I added. This is the back side and I've already got my card. Supplies are all still the same. I was about to add detail of my little girl eating solids, but then I remembered, no wait, on the back there are more photos of her actually eating the solids, and I'll add this little detail. And this little ticket is from this cut apart from Pebbles, and it has all the firsts in a girl theme. And she had avocado, which I had to look up if it was a fruit or vegetable, and it's a fruit. I'm just gonna go ahead and start grading. Alright, so I really just want to use the background pattern of the card. Don't want the dream big because it doesn't really have anything to do with the layout, even though I do love the phrase and the gold foil. It's just not really going with the photos. So it's going to be covered up by the ticket. That cut apart is just perfect. If you have a little girl and you want to document all the first, I highly recommend looking into Pebbles. I know that this particular collection is discontinued. Isn't that a bummer? But I do know that Pebbles came out with a new version of it. So I'm going to use that DIY label that I made, but I want to cover up the first food since it's already says that on the ticket. So I have to get the placement just right to where it covers up the ends of the phrase dream big. So I still have a little bit left. You see little tail of the G on the bottom, but that's okay. You can always cover up. And now I'm using up these Teresa Collins tiny letters, tiny alphas. And it takes me a while to find every letter that I need because there are some sheets that are almost running out and I want to finish this sheet, so I have to go through each and every sheet to see if there's a letter left for me to use instead of just going to full sheet and saving time. But anyways, her first fruit was avocado. Like I said, I had to Google it to make sure it was a fruit and not a vegetable, because we mostly group avocado with vegetables, but it's a fruit. I used a Q from I ran out of O's, so I used Q's, and what I did there was just get my pin and cover up the tail of the Q, and it looks like an O. You would have never known. And then I wrote the date on the side there to go along. That's what I did in the front layout, so to add that fluidness to it. Wrote that down, and here I am journaling about how her experience first solids and how I felt and how she was so excited about it, and she was so ready. I wanted to start solids at 6 months, but my little one was so ready for it. At our pediatrician appointment, he was like, why don't you go ahead and try it? And at 5 months we tried it and she was so ready. She was so interested in it before then. She just grabbed the spoon and started to feed herself, and she ate it all. She was just so into solid. Till this day, very, very good eater. Anyway, added that yellow label to give your eye some direction to look to the next photo, and that this story is about the photo to the right. I'm looking for something small to put on that little empty space, but there was nothing in that pack, so I bring out these little embellishments that I said I wanted to start using up, and that heart and the sequence, that heart in particular, to bring out the dark pink that is in the pattern, background pattern, using some of this glue. So I have to move quickly when I use this glue because I mixed it with Alini's original tacky glue that you can find at Joann's and Hobby Lobby. It's in a brown bronze bottle. And that tacky glue dries pretty quick. I have to quickly decide where I want it, and if not, I have to move fast. Bringing in some of this washi tape on top because I think it needs something a little bit on the top. And moving on to the next card. I guess that card was done. This photo here is about my sister and I at the gym. We're actually doing a body balance class by Les Mills. I love body balance. Anything Les Mills that's my jam. I'm new to it, and we took a picture because that was the first time I started to work out or do anything of that sort of physical activity since Mila was born. 5 months, not too bad to get back into it. I put yoga because there is a mix of yoga, I think, and Tai Chi and Pilates, yeah. Anyways, it felt awesome. It felt amazing to get back and to sweat and to stretch. You'd be surprised how tensed you are, even if you do go for a run. That stretching is just so. Can you tell I love it? Okay, so I'm bringing in the other end that I cut off from that label in here to add the date. And then I'm just going to put in a little heart there, a little yellow to bring in some yellow that's in the rest of the colors of the cards. And that's all I do for that.
This next photo here is about my little girl and the other new solid that she had, which was pears. I had so much fun making baby food for her. Now that she is 18 months, it's more challenging for me to think of lunch ideas for her, whereas then it was just like one veggie or one fruit for her to have. Anyways, so I added some of that washi that I added on the other card before this so that it could be a thing also that could just flow throughout the whole layout. I want to bring in some journaling with this tag, but I think it's just a bit too flat. So I'm thinking building some layers of paper and stickers would be good, and I want to bring in that precious, but if you can see here, there's a little bit of white that got stuck to it, so now I have to I have no other choice but to back it up with white cardstock and fussy cut the word. To pop that out so it won't be so flat, I add some foam letters from the Dollar Tree, which I think gives just the perfect amount of dimension for Project Life. It's not too high up. Oh, and then I remembered that the new collection from Crate Paper, Valentine's collection called Main Squeeze, has pears in it, and I thought perfect. And so I just got that little stamp sticker. It's just perfect. Don't you just love it when a collection has something that is exactly what you are looking for because it describes what is in the photo exactly? That rarely happens for me, but when it does, it's so like, oh. Anyway, so this sequence comes up and just trying to put it somewhere where it doesn't look like it's just floating around on its own. So what was your little one's, if you can remember, first solid? What did she have? I'd like to know in the comments below. This next card, as you can see, it's got beautiful butterflies pattern, and I thought it was perfect for the photo. The angle that and the way she's laying down, it kind of looks like she's flying away. It actually reminds me of those Instagram posts that moms post of their babies where they have them on the ground, but the props that they lay them down on looks like they're in the sky or in outer space. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? They used to be very, very popular 2 years ago. Maybe they still are. Anyways, I bring this epoxy sticker and I'm trying to figure out a good placement for it where it's not covering a butterfly hole. And so I thought that putting it on the bottom would be best because it would be better for you to see the top body of the butterfly than the bottom, and then I'm going to cover it up with a strip of, I guess you can say washi, but it's more of a paper, like a paper sticker. And I'm just going to journal there, light play, and that's all. I'm not going to go into much detail of it because I don't feel like I need to. Adding the date there also just directly onto the card, and that is done. So these next cards are about my little girl and her just waking up from a nap. I think I used to work at a school, like I said before, and I used to work in the infants division, and I loved it when they would wake up from their nap. They're so warm and cuddly, and their hair would just be all over the place. It was adorable. And apparently Mila doesn't have, no, apparently Mila has too much hair for it to be called peach fuzz. So I just, I'm going to put fuzzy nap hair or something like that. Adding some washi, so again your eyes can be directed to the photo to the right. And then I want to add some washi to the photo. And then I realized I really like the design on this card, so I want to cut it out using my X-Acto knife. I love this little X-Acto knife. I got it at Hobby Lobby and it's perfect. I find the X-Acto knives that have the longer handles on them, it's a bit harder for me to really get in there and get a good cut for me, the way it works. These little ones work perfect. Really good.
idea. If you really like what is on the card but you're going to cover it up, the best thing to do is to cut it up with an X-Acto knife so that your card will still be intact, but you can also use what you just cut up. Bringing in some of the washi to pop the pretty that I'm going to add that I just cut up. Perfect. Works perfect. Adding a little tiny pink glitter heart. If you're wondering where I got those, I just punched them out with a American Crafts tiny heart punch and just cardstock glitter paper. So I had some extra photos, so I cut 2 vertical 4x6s from another pocket page, and then I fused it to this page so that I can add more photos. Instead of trimming my photo and then matting it on top of a card like I usually do, I am just using 3x4 cards and just having a little bit of edge on the side there because these photos don't require a lot of journaling, and I want the photos to really take up the whole pocket space rather than using a card. The silly photo of my husband and I and our little girl is just a bunch of randomness. We just picked her up from a nap, and she's usually super happy after a nap, and we were just being silly with her. These labels are actually planner labels. They're planner stickers, and I got them from Michael's, the Recollections brand. Just journaling there that the story behind that pillow that she's snuggling with, a friend from Texas made it for her, and she wasn't really interested in it when she first got it for Christmas. But then when we started sleep training in January, she became pretty attached to it. I think she found comfort in it. And when she would wake up in the middle of her naps and know that I wasn't there, she would snuggle with it, and that's where I think she found that comfort. And for me, that was somewhat of relief that she was okay and still felt safe. Anyway, so I messed up. I rubbed it and I messed up on that label and I had to fix it, but my camera died, so I didn't get to show y'all the process of me fixing it, but I will show you what it looks like in the end. Again, bringing out that little X-Acto knife because I don't want to cut this out. I actually want to make a little slit. That sounds like a bad way of saying it. A little opening. That's better. Opening to insert the photo there so that label can pop out instead of having to cover it up and bring out another label. And the face that she's making here is a reaction. Her telling me that she does not like avocado with apples. And ever since then, now she is 18 months, she does not like avocados. Doesn't matter with what, she doesn't like it. However, I'm a little sneaky and I add it in her veggie smoothies and she loves it. So anyway, I find hearts a bit tricky to tuck underneath because then you're either covering up one of the wings, if you will, from a heart, or you're covering up the tip of the heart and it doesn't look like a heart anymore. So it's either all showing or you just don't use it. I'm trying to find that label sticker here. You don't get to see it. It kind of blends in with the card, so that's why I freeze framed a little bit so y'all could see it, and it's from a Mambi pack from their tiny sticker book. Here I'm using a full photo, no card, just getting it right to trim it, and I think I want to journal in white, but the table is too light and the white journaling would get lost, so I don't end up using it, and I bring out my black pen. This is my first time journaling in a curve or a round, a circle, in this case half a circle around that plate. And it's kind of tricky because I think you have to know exactly what you're going to journal, and you have to have enough words to completely journal around. If that makes any sense. So not only did I journal just one line, I journaled 3 lines, and to get the spacing right was interesting. There's a shot of that pen if you all are wondering, because it does dry pretty quickly on glossy surfaces. And I believe, am I done? Oh, I have to write the date. Can't forget that. And I am done showing you what I added when my camera died. Added a little bit of journaling with some tab. And that is what
it looks like, with the added 4x6s. And thanks for watching, y'all. See you later in my next process video. Bye!